Okay, so what are we looking at here? These are 4 burner tubes from our gas grill, which is this nice old Kenmore model. And I called up the guy because obviously these tubes are totally full of holes and there's just fire coming out instead of a nice steady blue flame. And he's pretty gruff, and he just said, you know, is the inside rusted out? You know, he didn't just want to replace the burner tubes. And you know, he said, you know, he wasn't going to make any effort to undo any rusted screws or anything like that. So, you know, I took it upon myself to at least give it a try. So I took a look. There are 4 screws going into the burners here. And then there are 4 more holding this little clip on. And this clip holds the igniters. So to some extent, the igniters are kind of optional, right? But I really wanted to get the burner tubes separated in as good an optimal condition as I could. So how did I do it? Well, I heard about the special Reddit mixture, which is I think a mixture of WD-40 and acetone, something like that. And so I didn't have acetone, but I was thinking, you know, what else is a similar solvent? And I was like, just gas. And I didn't have gas, so I just got chainsaw gas, which has a little bit of oil in there. But I also use this great 3-in-1 lock dry lube. From what I understand, WD-40 doesn't have any lube of its own. So this stuff is good. It's kind of like WD-40 plus lube. So I had to go through a lot of stuff. You know, first I sprayed it. Ideally I would have soaked it all overnight, but I couldn't even get it out of the grill. So I took turns spraying it down with WD-40, letting it wait, then spraying it down with dry lube, and then rubbing it down with gas. To use the gas, I just put a little in this plastic bottle, made sure that the plastic bottle didn't get eroded immediately, and then used this toothbrush and just scrubbed away. So I let it soak in each of those for 5 minutes. Then for brushes, I used the toothbrush just to apply it. Then I had this nice little wire brush to get at like the threads of the screws. And then this is like the bigger wire brush, which wasn't as good because it's not as targeted, but you know, I really wanted to get all the areas. About 2 of the screws came right off just like that with a little of those lubricants. The rest I really had to work at. And then the hardest ones, this is another trick I learned. I got like a thin screwdriver, a narrow screwdriver, and I pounded it into the threads with the hammer and just pounded it straight through. So to pound it straight through, I had to use like some kind of a metal surface. I didn't have like a bench handy, but this Wonder Bar turned out to be pretty good. I was able to just pound things against here. And after I pounded in to get the threads with this small screwdriver, I then used the larger screwdriver to just, you have to really take advantage of every last bit of thread you can get. I mean, let's take a look at these. This one wasn't too bad, that was on top. That one wasn't too bad either. But it's these ones down at the bottom. Look at this, that is a pretty crappy thread there. Or, not the thread, but the head. And speak of the threads, they're awful. This is after all those layers. That one's pretty good, actually. This one, I mean, look at that head. Not much room to get in there with a screwdriver, so it really helps to bang on it. Threads rusted, but workable on that one. Now the next 2, almost no head there. I mean, I really had to pound in with the hammer. And this one is interesting, because you can see the threads are pretty bad. And then I made it a little bit worse with my pounding. You could see the end of the thread actually got a little wide. So on these 2 screws, I actually had to extract them. I had to put a little back pressure on them with the hammer as I unrolled it. And then, oh, this one was pretty decent. I mean, as far as the head goes, but the thread was like the worst of all. And of course, I made it worse. But you could see the end when I pounded it. So even when I got it through all these threads, I had to, and I applied force with the hammer, I still couldn't get it out. So eventually I just, you know, I even tried to deburr it a little bit with the Wonder Bar and stuff. So eventually I just got the hammer and the narrow screwdriver and I just pounded it right out. So definitely those screws need to be replaced. The rest of these, the top side, I think are totally fine. You know, maybe I'll just soak them in some solution. So they're ready to go. But I don't even need to replace those. But I will be replacing these little guys here for sure. And now I get to call the repair guy and say, you know what? I don't actually need you to come out and repair. I just need a set of burner tubes. And that means we're going to get back to grilling. Oh yeah.